Let's talk about how we're going to finish up the activity for averages. So I wanted to show you a few different ways we can find measures of average in a spreadsheet. When we have data that is in a list like this here, we can find it just using a couple of formulas. So in your spreadsheet, you'll want to label these. So we might put in mean, median, and mode. And I feel like the text is a little small here, so I'm going to highlight it. And I've got my font size and font up here, so I'm going to make it a bit bigger. I'll just make it 12. Okay. So now I'm going to fill in my mean, median, and mode. So to find the mean, I'm going to type equals and then average. So Google Sheets thinks of the average like we do, that the average is the mean. Average has a bigger meaning than that, but that's the word that it uses for the mean. You can type it in and do an open parenthesis, or once you start typing it, these suggestions below should show up, and it'll be the first one, average here. Either way will work, but you will end up with this open parenthesis. Then I need to select my data. My data is between cells A7, and it goes all the way down A92. So I can click and select that, or I can just type it in. So I can do A7 colon A92, and now it has selected all of my data. So if scrolling down to select all of that is a lot, yours looks exactly the same as this. You could use the exact formula that I have used. To find the median, I have equals median. This will show up. So this version of average is actually just called the name that it has versus calling it something else. So we have median here, same thing. I want to go through A7 through A92. Okay. And again, I can just double check. I like that it scrolls with me when I scroll. I can double check that it got the data correctly, and it did. Okay. Scroll back up. Actually, one thing you should know is that if you've scrolled down and selected, and you press enter, it moves you right back up to the top of the page, which is helpful. So last we'll find the mode, equals mode, pretty straightforward also. So I want A7 through A92, and I feel pretty confident that that's the right data at this point. So those are finding the mean, median, and mode from formulas. What if we have our data set up in a frequency table? Like this. So if this is my data, I'm just going to move the screen a little bit, and it's set up in a frequency table like this, I need to do something a little bit different to show my data, or to find the mean, median, and mode. Okay. The mode is pretty easy. The mode is whatever has the highest frequency. So you look at your list of frequencies. My highest frequency is 18. So my mode is the age 19. Okay, so the mode is 19 because the highest frequency is 18. Okay. And remember that mode needs to be one of our ages. Same thing with the mean, same thing with the median. Okay. The median's a little bit harder to find. I need to think about how many total people I have here, because the median's right in the middle. So I need to figure out how many people I have and then figure out where's the middle group, what age are they? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out the total for my frequency. Okay, so total equals, and I'm just going to add up these numbers. So the sum of my frequency column. I have 86 people in this class. And so some quick mental arithmetic, or doing it in my calculator, or doing it in a cell on the sheet, tells me that there are 43 people in each half of the data. So the lower half is 43, and the upper half is 43. Okay. I'm going to move this out of my way a little bit. Okay. So to use the fact that the lower half is 43 and the upper half is 43, I need to figure out kind of a running total for my frequency. So if I'm starting here, and I'll just call this cumulative frequency. So that's saying how much total I have. And I'm going to start at the second line because I just need to add things up as I go. So I'm adding up B5 and B4. Okay. So at this point, I have 13 people. That's not quite to my halfway point of 43 that I'm looking for. Okay, so I go to the next one. And this time I'm going to use the sum formula because that's going to be a little bit easier. So I'm going to add up the first 3 frequencies now. It's 25. I'm closer to 43 people, but at this point, at age 18, I've only covered 25 people. I go to my next one. Look at the sum of these. Okay. 43 on the nose. So my median, the halfway point, is right between 19 and 20 years old. 43 of the people are below 20, and 43 of the people are going to be 20 or higher. So my median is between 19 and 20 years old. Merging some cells here to show all of my writing. Okay, so the median is between 19 and 20 years old because half the people are 19 and younger and half the people are 20 and older. Okay. So my mode is the highest frequency, and then I need to report the age for that mode. My median is the halfway point, half of the total number of people. And I report again the age associated with that. Finding the mean requires a couple calculations. One of them is the total frequency. I need that because I need to divide by the total number of people I have in the mean. But the other thing I have to do to find the mean is to add up all the ages. But I need to add them all up for all the people. So I need to figure out the total age that's contributed by each of these groups of people. So if I want to know how many years total the 16-year-olds have between the 5 of them, I need to take the age 16 and I need to multiply by the 5 people. So this group of people altogether has 80 years of life experience. Okay? I would do the same thing for the next line, the 17-year-olds times the number of people. Altogether, those 8 people, all of them having 17 years of life experience, have 136 years. Now, the great thing about a spreadsheet is I don't have to do this over and over again because the calculation is the same the whole way down. So I hover over the corner and I click and I drag. So this is now the total years of life experience for each group of people. Okay. So to get the total for the entire class, I need to add up this column. So altogether, those 86 people have 1,864 years of life experience altogether. So if I wanted to average that out, and that's what the average age would be, it's the average life experience of each of the people. So I take this 1,864 people and I split it up evenly among the 86 people. Okay? So the way I find the mean then is I take my 1,864 years and I divide it by the 86 people. Okay? So the mean is about 21.5 years. If you were to split up all the life experience equally among all the people, they would have on average 21 and a half years of life experience, or 21.7 years of life experience. So the mean is 21.7 years of life experience. So those are the various calculations that we have to do for this spreadsheet. The last tab is just looking at a graph and thinking about how we might visualize those averages. But go ahead and use this to help complete the activity and find the averages and just explore how we deal with averages in spreadsheets. And let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.